Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the weekend stock talk on September 23rd. Now, before we get started, I think I know what you're thinking. Kevin, don't tell me anything else. Just tell me what I need to know. What is the market going to do? That's the question, right? So, in past videos, we've talked about the bullish nature of the markets and how we've been continuously making new highs, and you can see how different news items kind of throttle some of the movement, but overall we have the bullish nature, we have the bulls coming in and pushing the market higher. So, all these things aside, they're tossing things aside, and I told you guys how once we break over resistance point, we're looking at the S&P 500 on the yearly chart. After we break over resistance and we backtest the resistance, it is likely that we make newer highs. And you guys can see that. What are shorts doing? Well, shorts are really having a hard time. It's not impossible, I agree, but if you're shorting on a market that's making all-time highs, you really have to carefully pick your spots. Whereas if you're just going long, this is the perfect scenario in which you want to take a look at. And this looks like what? A continuous move to the uptrend. And this is something that I've been talking about over and over again in past videos. So here we go. Higher highs. We have a resistance close to 295. We didn't hit it. We hit it around 294 on Thursday before we kind of sold off on Friday. Friday was really a mixed bag. We had the Dow kind of propping us higher, whereas the Nasdaq or the FANG stocks, you can see the top of my list, some of those stocks such as Netflix, Apple, Amazon, Google, those stocks of the Nasdaq components sold off, hence we had a mixed day. Now, is that the start of the minor correction that goes into the holiday season? No, right? What are people doing when markets are dipping? At some point, we find the buyers coming in. Like I said, even if we dip to the 289.50 level, I'm expecting near that area, I'm expecting buyers to come in significantly to lift the market even higher. Hence, I am, obviously the markets are, anyhow, there's not much to say here. So you guys know the trend here, and we're going to be taking a look at volatility or TVIX. All right. So with volatility in several of our previous videos, if you've checked them out, and one thing about these stock talk videos, right? Let's give you guys a scenario. I don't know if this happens. Let's say you watch my video every other day, okay? You don't watch it every day. You watch it every other day, and you might be like, his analysis is still, for the most part, fairly accurate. So even if I watch it daily, it's accurate, but if it's every other, it's still so what's going on here? Now, I'm not saying that you should watch my video every other day or every 3 or 4 days, but you can see that for the most part, the analysis that I give or the trends that I see holds true for a couple of days, perhaps even longer. And that's the whole point of making good technical analysis. All right, so here's volatility or TVIX, and we've talked about how it's been making newer lows pretty much every day. So are you going to go into a position of volatility? That is risky, right? Because it's making newer lows. This is a declining ETF, and hence, you really got to pick your spots if you're going into volatility. Are you going to go into volatility when we're nearing all-time highs? You can take, I'm not an advisor, but you could possibly take a small position, but this is declining. And hence, you guys can see that right now we're making newer lows. Currently, it made a low of 25.68. We're closing at 26.45. And this is likely to move and continue move to the downside, whether it's in the next few days or the next few weeks. This is likely to continue to move to the downside. And that's that. That just follows the inversely with the current market trends, right, guys? All right. So let's take a look at a couple of commodities. Guys, if you do enjoy this video, you guys do know what to do, right? What do? You smash that like button, of course, just to show that, hopefully you enjoy these videos, and that if you're either making money from them or if you're just kind of following and seeing my perspective of things, That's fantastic. All right, let's get on to 4/CL or crude oil futures. Now, crude oil futures resistance was at $70.05 and 6 cents, around that area. What happened? So the one thing that you can see is we went higher, right? On this was Wednesday. Here's Thursday, the red candle, and Friday, what happened? We pretty much reconfirmed the previous resistance as the new support, right? Which we've talked about in the past. And now, crude oil, when we've talked about this so many times in the past, is bullish, right? It's on an uptrend, and the likely scenario is at some point we are going to make another run for the 74.27 level. Just looking at this trend, right? Looking at this trend, and this looks pretty good for crude oil. Yes, I hear Trump is trying to, and the administration is trying to lower prices with crude oil, but just looking at technical charts, it is going to move higher as of right now. So that is something very interesting to note. So, of course, if you're interested, the ticker to look at is UWT. You guys can see UWT once again did move higher, but we did, kind of sell off during the trading day just a tad bit. But here's the previous resistance area, which is close to where the new support should be the new support again. And of course, if we do push higher, then we would expect higher prices for UWT, which follows crude oil. So that's one thing, right? That looks pretty good for crude oil right now, and therefore not much doing. 4/NG, natural gas. What is there to say about this chart? We've had these technical lines for all this time, and it's still doing the same thing over and over again. 2.989. That is the number that we've been watching, resistance level, and we hit it. And that's it, right? Natural gas is obviously bullish, number one. And number two, are you going to buy in right now? Are you going to buy in at a resistance? So how do you buy into natural gas 4/NG if you don't trade futures? Well, you would go and look into the ticker, for example, UGAZ, which follows natural gas. Are you going to buy in at a resistance? Well, I hope not, but but that's where it is right now, right? So what can we see at the resistance? Well, you guys can see in several times in the past we consolidate at the resistance. That's perfectly fine before a what? A possible move to the downside again, right? So this is a very predictable pattern. I'm still waiting for possibly natural gas to start breaking out of the resistance, but I don't want to speculate right now. We're pretty much at where we are in the past. So that's that. 4/NG. Guys, if you want to do these technical lines and trends and see how to really invest smartly with your money, check out the course, right? These are topics I teach every single day. So got a lot of new members here and been constantly kind of doing that personalized experience in terms of kind of talking through these trends or whatever trends that other members are seeing. So yeah, check that out if you haven't. It's in the description box down below. 4/GC or gold futures. What's new, guys? What's new? Here's the resistance at 1211.6. What have we been doing? Consolidate. Right? What else is there to really say about gold? Since the story hasn't changed all these days. Well, in the short term, this is looking like a bullish push to the upside, right? You guys can see that it's consolidated for a long time at a resistance and is likely that will push to the upside. However, do we see that push up to the upside yet? No. And we have to be cautious because in the past, we have been tricked by gold in terms of a consolidation at a previous resistance, and then we pulled all that energy to the downside. Do we want to be tricked again this time around? Well, probably not, right? No one wants to be tricked in this market. So here's the ticker if you're interested. This one follows gold, JNUG. And the one thing that looks good about gold is what? What can you guys see? I'm not even going to tell you. What do you guys see? Okay. So if you pause the video and taking a look, you guys can see here's the 20-period moving average, and all of a sudden, what have we done? We've gone up over the 20-period moving average. We reconfirmed the 20-period moving average as a possible support. Gold is looking better, and that's hence you guys can see you have to ask yourself, why is JNUG pushing higher, right, or potentially pushing higher if 4/GC is just kind of moving sideways? Isn't that interesting? Those are questions you have to ask yourself. All right, guys. What is next? Oh, tickers, of course. Let's get to your tickers, and we'll take a look at your first one, which is NOW by Will. We looked at this one in the past, Will, and you guys can see a higher low and a higher high line. This is looking pretty good. Pretty good. I like this. Okay. I like it. Now here's the support line, right? 182.59. The first question you have to ask yourself is, did we hit the 182.59 level? The answer has to be no, right? Recently, in the past 3 days, we didn't hit the 182.59 level. What is the consequence of not hitting the 182.59 level? Well, the consequence is we have to, at the very least, can't take out the possibility of a retest of a support, right? It could go up to the 20, and then near that area, somehow get rejected, come back down, and retest that support area. That's certainly possible. We got close to it, but we didn't hit it. And therefore, I like this trend if you bought in near the low, right? If you bought in, for example, when it was pushing lower and you bought in at 183.65, you were pretty close to the support level. And what happened? Well, you can obviously take advantage of the short-term uptrend that it provides. But you guys can see this is a very good chart. Will, good job. The resistance, should we get to it, is around 206. And you guys can see it was the previous resistance in the past. You can imagine that that could be the resistance for now, right? Okay, so this one, it's all right. It's pretty good. Not the best ticker, but pretty good. Good job, Will. SRD Janster, is this a live account or a demo? Are you talking about this? So this is the TD Ameritrade account, and this is a live account. So what I use to chart is live. It's real time. You guys can see on the top left is real time data. Thanks for your question. Ben, hey Kevin, can you please analyze CPG? I know it is a long-term downtrend and it has taken a beating a couple weeks back. It has shown some recovery. Where do you see that going short-term? So CPG was one that we were watching quite a whiles back because we know that there's certainly potential for profit. Because if I showed you this chart, where does your eyes go to first? Where does your eyes go to first? Well, your eyes obviously probably go to the green up moves, right? And you're like, wow, look at the potential for profit, 30+%, right? But that's a question of whether you caught that trend or not, right? Because if you guys can imagine, you're like, oh, are we going to reverse near the support here? Well, we went up and then we came back down. And then you're like, oh, we're back at the support. It's time to go up. Nope, fake. Time to go up. Nope, fake. And then by that time, what do investors do? Well, investors might be thinking, oh man, this one's not going to go up. The last time we made a lower high and this is not going to surge all the way back up. I'm going to just go to a different ticker. And by that time, when everyone else is out, the investment firms are coming in, buying in, and that's when it goes up. That's just how market kind of psychology works. It's really here to trick the retail investors, leave them out of the game, and get the investment firms, mutual funds, hedge fund banks, all those managers coming in and buying when you're least expecting. That's just how it is. So okay, that aside, CPG, looking at this trend, now you guys can see what happened here, right? There was a clear breakdown signal of a major support right down here at 6.45. Let's take a 3-year chart. So the one thing about the 3-year chart you guys can see is not looking good, right? So if you guys can imagine, here we are, right? You guys can see how in the past, what have we done? Here's the, well, first of all, here was a support, right? We back tested the support and then down, and then all of a sudden we start consolidating. Can you guys see? Consolidating at a previous support, which is now acting as new resistance. Boom. All the way down. Okay? What are we doing now? Here we are. Here's the previous resistance. Down move. Up move. What do you think is going to happen at this line? Well, it is likely, it doesn't have to happen, but it is likely that as we near this line, it is going to get rejected off of it. And that is just what it seems like it will do. Right? Could it move higher? Sure it can. Nothing is out of the possibility. But how do we know if it moves higher? Well, first, price has to move higher in the resistance area. And second, it has to reconfirm that resistance as the new support, right? Do we see that right now? Obviously not. And therefore, this can't be an enticing one, at least for now, right? So, Christopher, thank you, Kevin. I plan on signing up for the course soon. Great. I look forward to having you on the team, and thank you so much for your comment. All right, so Luis, I'll tackle one of them. Let's take a look at MU. So MU is Micron Technology. Now, this one is interesting. I have been looking and monitoring this one because you guys can see that MU has a rather definitive lower high, right? That's number one, lower high. And upon earnings, can you guys see this earnings day over here? And then we gapped lower on, I believe, decreased guidance by the company, but we formed a pretty much neutral candle on Friday. Well, this is a hard one to say because this is on an active decline, right? This one has potential to move down to my support line of 39.88. That's what I'm looking for, and therefore the momentum could easily carry this to the downside. Could it do a short-term uptrend back to the resistance? Sure it can. The resistance is around 48.70, around that area, but the major momentum is to the downside. Hence, I am looking for lower prices for Micron in the future. I don't think this is the bottom. It just doesn't look right in terms of a bottom. And we haven't satisfied a lot of the metrics that I look at in terms of a possible a reversal back to the upside. So, yeah, that's that. So I'll tackle your other ticker on Monday just to kind of keep things succinct. But thank you once again for commenting. And I hope I replied to everyone's comment in here. If I didn't, please kind of reiterate your comment on the comment section down below in this video. Until next time, I will see you on Monday. And of course, happy trading.